Welcome everyone to History Gone Wilder, part of Have History Will Travel. I'm your host, the Wilder historian, Dr. Lucas Wilder, and last time Pickett's charge took place, and now the focus shifts to a lesser-known cavalry battle at the south end of the battlefield that happened at roughly the same time as Pickett's assault. If you like what I do, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already, join the Patreon page, and purchase something from one of my online stores. Every little bit helps. Thank you. As Robert E. Lee's rebel artillery bombarded the Union position on Cemetery Ridge in preparation for a grand assault by 3 divisions, Union cavalry under Judson Kilpatrick and Wesley Merritt were ordered to operate on the Federal left on the extreme south end of the battlefield. That sector was still guarded by John Bell Hood's Southern troops, but since Hood had been wounded on July 2nd, Evander Law controlled that area. The 1st Texas and 47th Alabama guarded that flank as skirmishers, as the rest of the division watched the Union threats on the Round Tops. Elon Farnsworth placed his brigade of cavalry on Bushman's Hill just south of the skirmish line, and Merritt deployed his brigade of U.S. regulars across the Emmitsburg Road. Merritt advanced his troops and drove back the 100 men of the 1st South Carolina Cavalry detached from Wade Hampton's cavalry brigade. Law dispatched the 7th and 8th Georgia from Anderson's brigade to reinforce the line. Merritt advanced his units against the rebel position, but found the rebels in strength. To unseat the Confederates from their position, he sent the 5th U.S. Cavalry to the west to get around their flank. Meanwhile, the rest of Anderson's Georgians joined the battle line, led there personally by Law himself. The 59th and 11th Georgia swung like a door and drove back the cavalrymen. Law didn't continue the attack, not wanting to bring on a general engagement. That section of the battlefield went into a lull, and Law felt comfortable moving artillery from that area, as well as the 9th Georgia, to bolster the Texas skirmish line. It's good that he did, because Kilpatrick planned a full-scale assault of the line. The first to hit the Texans were the 1st West Virginia Cavalry, who charged through the ranks, Kilpatrick hoping they would reach the artillery to the rear of the line. But when they got behind the lines, they were trapped, and canister fire from the artillery unseated many horsemen. They were forced to fall back to safety. Kilpatrick wasn't done yet. He intended to break the Confederate line, but miscommunication led the 18th Pennsylvania attacking the line before the 1st Vermont was ready. The 5th New York was supposed to support the Pennsylvanians, but pulled back before fully engaging. Seeing the possibility of attacks by Kilpatrick's men, Law moved the 4th Alabama to a farm road in order to create a box to trap any Federal cavalry if they broke through. When the attack by the 18th ended, the men from Vermont were ready to attack. Farnsworth divided them into 3 battalions and charged, but only the 1st and 3rd battalions made the attack. The 2nd was dismounted, and they protected their advancing companions. The 3rd battalion moved into the area between the 4th Alabama and the rest of Law's brigade, while the 1st battalion moved into the open and got riddled with artillery. As the 1st moved east, they were shot at by the 4th Alabama, which surprised them. Meanwhile, the 3rd battalion threaded the needle between the Confederate regiments and made it into the open, only to come under artillery fire and musketry themselves. Both battalions returned to the Union battle line, with Farnsworth being mortally wounded in the process. This ended the significant fighting at the Battle of Gettysburg. By the time the guns fell silent around the southern end of the battlefield, Pickett's division and the other 2 divisions who made the charge against Cemetery Ridge were already back behind the Confederate lines on Cemetery Ridge, licking their wounds from the horrendous defeat.